All right, guys, we're going to just jump right into this and kind of roll down what I have accumulated. I just got back from Washington, D.C., so I got to read through my chicken scratches. But in the showdown at O'Donnell between D6 top 5 teams, number 4 Chesaning downed Ovid Elsie 23-7. Ovid Elsie was number 3 in that game. Chesaning number 4. Senior Braden Florian. I mean, he had a monster game, but it just blew my mind when I saw it online. I thought it was a typo.
For real.
Kicked a 56-yard field goal in that game, along with a 47-yard field goal and one other field goal.
Where the hell did that come from? Is this guy going to be like kicking for Michigan next year? I mean, I don't know how that's been buried. That story, that's nuts.
No kidding. Yeah,
up real quick. I saw. I meant to actually write this.
I think.
Yeah, I meant to write this down. I think it's like the 4th longest in the state.
And I think he's tied with like Jake Moody.
So I was going to say that. Speaking of Michigan, Jake Moody, who kicked at Michigan, now in the NFL, I think he holds the record at 58 yards, I think is what I saw. So Florian's right there. It's incredible for a high school kicker.
Especially when he's doing all the other shit on the field too. I mean, he's a stud at every other position. Oh, by the way, I can just kick missiles for field goals.
Wow. And I was going to say, oh, by the way, he ran for 120 yards in that game as well.
Right.
Oh, so right here, I found the tweet. It's actually from a friend of the podcast, Youssef from ABC 12.
Oh, okay.
Jake Moody's second in the state, 58 yards. He kicked for Northville.
Yeah.
Doug Kochansky from Warren Woods Tower. Ted, do you know where that is? No idea where that is.
I know where Warren Woods is. Yeah. Down Detroit area.
Yeah.
59 yards is the record. 59. So only 2 yards off the state record.
Incredible. Also, senior safety Brady Sager had a 99-yard pick 6 early in the second half to turn the tide for the 7-0 Tribe. I think Ovid Elsie was driving downfield to take a 2-touchdown lead at that time, and that pick 6 definitely turned the game around. In other games, Corunna, they had a halfway decent bounce back game, 70-6 over Clio. I mean, they were angry after that Goodrich loss, apparently.
Nothing will cure your ailments like that matchup. That'll work wonders for you.
Yep. Caden Cowdery had 250 passing with Logan Herrick 107 yards receiving, and Cowdery had 3 touchdown passes in that one. I know we had some debate back and forth or some questioning. Jared's team, you put up 67 against somebody, did you?
Chesaning,
Chesaning, and then some people thought this was the record, and I even actually thought about it until my memory finally clicked in, and we'll say it's the modern era record with running clock for sure. I mean, 70 points with a running clock is pretty amazing.
That's crazy.
The 47 team had 72 against Durand. They beat them 72-0, but still, that's quite an accomplishment putting up 70 in this day and age.
Either way, right? 70 with the running clock. So, like you said, Jared, your guys' team without the running clock, who knows how many points you could have put up, or even this Corunna team, but even more, 72 back in 1947. Were they even throwing the ball? Were they just running the ball all over Durand back then, or what?
Yeah, they probably ran for 800 yards that day.
Right?
Like, no joke, probably. Kind of close to 800 yards.
I'll have to dig into my dad's old scrapbook and see what the real stats were. I don't
know if they actually had. Did they have stats back in those days? Like,
oh man, they did. Are you kidding me? They did better write-ups in those days in the newspaper than they do nowadays.
That is so true. Shout out to Teddy. He still does a great job.
Yeah.
But I thought you're right. Those old write-ups, man, people used to really be talented when it came to writing. Obviously, there's a little bit more of a emphasis on writing back in those days when there's no TV and no social media. But still, those write-ups, you're right. There's a lot of good info in there.
No doubt. A few other scores. Lake Fenton over Owasso, 49-27. Trojans now have lost their 4th in a row after starting 3-0 and being state ranked. But their stud, Hoyt Patrick, 172 yards and a couple touchdowns in that one. New Lothrop, it's going to be down to selection Sunday probably the way things are going. They lost to Montrose 26-20. Very rare down season for Clint Galvis and his Hornets. Birch Run down Durand, 27-26. Langsburg over Dansville, 47-20. It was Morris and 8-man football, 38-6 over Mount Pleasant Sacred Heart. Wyatt Valentine's having quite a season in the secondary. 3 more interceptions, and Wyatt Cartier had 116 yards and a couple touchdowns in that one. Pewamo, Westphalia in CMAC action down Perry, 49-6. The bright spot, Brady Burns, 6 tackles in that one to lead the way for the Perry Ramblers. Also, we're going to be doing the St. John's Ionia game this week. The game last week was Hazlitt at St. John's, 35-14. The Vikings won that one. Corey Amakri had 260 yards and 3 touchdowns. He's getting recruited by a lot of D1 schools as a running back. So a big win there by the Vikings. Couple other quick stories. Chesaning boys finished unbeaten in the Mid-Michigan Activities Conference play. Justin Lang had 2 goals in soccer for a 3-0 win over Lakeville, but their season came to a halt tonight. You were talking about Teddy. I saw his post on Twitter. Indian season came to an end tonight in the districts, 2-1 against Langsburg. And in finally in cross country, Corunna took 3rd place in the 24 school Greater Flint Cross Country Championship, led by Bobby Donnelly's 8th best time. So, whew, that's a lot of stuff in the prep spotlight. Yes,
I mean playoffs are around the corner, and I had a couple friends went to the Ovid LC Chesaning game, and they said, a friend of the podcast, Tyler, Michigan Football Frenzy, he was there. He was posting updates and videos and stuff like that throughout the game. But they said just a beautiful night for football, awesome environment, packed house. So that just sounds like it was a classic high school football game. But one of those that, like, Chesaning, obviously we talked to their head coach, Matt Walter, and he's obviously got them on a roll right now. But Travis Long, and I know they're probably disappointed with the loss, of course, but it's like you still got a lot to play for. I mean, those two teams might see each other in the playoffs here in a few weeks. So
has them slated to play each other as of now. So
right,
talk about a revenge game.
Talk about getting your revenge. Obviously, it might be in Chesaning that time, possibly.
Right.
So that'd be a heck of a game. Speaking of playoffs and snooze, before we don't have to spend a ton of time on this, but I feel like this is a topic we've talked about before. I saw in Snooze's latest drop, the district that he has Corunna currently in. There, I think it was like Flint Hamady and I think another Flint school, but then Williamston currently at 2-5.
What?
And I shared this, because of the point system and everything, and me and some friends, that we keep up on it, and Corunna guys and stuff, and we talked about it a little bit, like just how so people used to, schedule a bunch of cupcakes so they could get to 6 wins, get in the playoffs. All right. That might've been an issue. I don't think it was that big of a problem. Maybe a couple schools did that, but I don't care what opponents you're playing. If you're losing 5, they might lose another game or 2. If they lose 5-6 games in the season, you should not be in the playoffs. There's no way you can make the playoffs if you only win 2 or 3 games in your season.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know. I wish we should go back and listen to pods. If I ever said that I was in favor of the new playoff rule, listen, this is the reality of what used to happen. Yes, would there be a teams like, a Brother Rice or somebody who played in a tough conference, went 5-4, just barely missed out on playoffs? Those happen. We've overcorrected it so much. It's like there was some magic, Matt. You remember it. You make the playoffs, man. There's some awesome magic to that. You knew 6 wins, that magic number gets you in. Yeah, it's a little bit of it's not a perfect system when it was that way with 6 wins. Some deserving teams didn't make it. But for the most part, if you didn't win 6 wins or more, you probably weren't a state championship team to begin with. So I hate it, man. I'm still going to love it. We still love our high school football, but hearing that, it like almost makes your skin crawl, man. 2-5 and you're getting in. What are we talking about?
Well, that's almost worse than
not even in that conference.
I was going to say it's almost worse than just expanding it 1 more week and let everybody in. You know what I mean?
You might as well. There's no criteria to really make it anymore.
Right.
There's no. I don't know.
Seems
I'll
weird.
get on my high horse, but I hate that rule.
Because I feel like it goes either way. Either the teams, if you really think it was a problem that teams would schedule a bunch of cupcakes just to get to 6-7 wins, there's probably teams that schedule just a bunch of really, Division 1 or whatever schools that they can get the most points for. And if they go 2-7, oh well, who cares? We're still getting in. But I figured I thought we would all be in agreement on that, but it's just it's crazy to see 2-5, but still in the playoffs.
So I missed the very beginning. Did you say that's what one projection is, that if Corunna gets in, that's who they would play?
That's his last one that he just dropped on Sunday. That's who they would play in their district.
That's ideal. Because the other versions I've been seeing has Frankenmuth and or Pontiac Notre Dame Prep in that district. And if you're Corunna, you're just praying. I mean, we love Corunna; they can beat anybody, as far as we are concerned. But you want to avoid those 2 teams.
Yeah, I would assume Corunna would have more points and have the home game. I would assume that's
in the Williamson district.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the Prep Spotlight presented by Jacobs Insurance Agency, one of our good friends. In fact, guys, I didn't tell you this. I made an impromptu deal the other night before I headed out on my trip. The night before I hit the road the next morning, I bought a car. I bought a used car I saw on the side of the road. Yeah, I took it for a ride. I said, geez, I like this. It's a Buick. I haven't never owned a Buick. It's a Buick LaCrosse, a little older model, but only had 75,000 miles on it. So I struck the deal. I gave the guy $200 to hold it, and I pick it up tomorrow. And get insured with Jacobs. Well, somewhere down the line in the not very far future, I drive a company car, and when I officially retire, I got to give the darn thing back. So so I bought a nice little rider. So I'm looking forward to that, and went through the good folks at Jacobs.
So this is just going to be sitting in your driveway for the next couple of years?
It's going to sit in my garage, hopefully, until I need it. Yeah, a year, maybe a year.
You couldn't pass it up?
Couldn't. No, I drove by it a couple times. I think my dad reached down to me and said, I built Buicks at Fisher Body, so you always wanted one. So I looked at it, and it's really a sharp looking car. I like the front grill on Buicks, so I made the deal.
I tell you, I've rode in some Buicks. I remember one of my grandparents had a Buick for a while, and I've had some friends. I had like a LeSabre and some other Buicks. Those are nice cars, man. Those are nice cars.
Oh, it's leather interior with heated seats. I mean, it's awesome. It's got all the bells and whistles, so I can't wait.
Nice.
Yeah, it sounds like you want to start driving it right now.
I can't wait to pick it up tomorrow, to be honest with you. Now I just got to avoid the deer. It's that type of time of season.
Yeah.
All right,
Jacobs will help you out with that if something happens too.
Already on it. Already sent the work over to Noah, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's talk a little Tigers right after this break, and we'll kind of recap their season.